Okay, let's start our consent agenda. We have payment of and improvement of minutes. Do I have a motion on this?
Bills, you gotta go bills first.
Oh, bills first, yeah.
We had a few questions on bills. Tim, do you want to just touch on those real quick on the?
Yeah, there was a question regarding the insurance recovery on the one lawsuit that we have. The Franzik Sullivan bill, the attorney's bill that is in the up for approval, brings the total amount that we've spent through Franzik and Sullivan on that lawsuit to exactly $10,000. So we haven't gone over that. Once we go over that, then we bill the insurance to start paying us, refunding the money to us. But at this point, we're right at $10,000. There was a question regarding a bill that was for interpreters, and that was actually someone who was doing sign language. It was an IEP meeting. The parents of the child were deaf, and so there was an interpreter there who did sign language. The tickets for the Evanston High School for the trip up there, that money was all recouped. Most of it was recouped out of $460. We recouped $400 of it. That $400 was deposited back into that account. I think it was just recently done in the last couple of days. So the cost for that, the only tickets were paid for was 3 tickets that were paid for administrators. And the final one was on the regional basketball tournament. We did make about $350 on that tournament. There was some additional money that was made by the boosters, but RB made $350. So we did make sure that it was at least a break-even type of proposition.
There's one question, just the way you explained it, it makes sense. But when everything is presented on revenue and expenses here, when I saw the expense, I looked for an offsetting revenue to see if we had recouped the cost. But if we put the expenses on the expense side, and then we take the revenues, we take them and put them in the same account and net it together, how does you track whether one's an expense and one's a revenue?
Well, because of the fact that we're collecting a lot of money to pay, this is where we're collecting money to pay for this expense.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of that if we put it into revenue, we'd have a lot of items going into miscellaneous revenue that would just cloud that account.
Okay.
Any other questions on bills?
Yeah, I got a quick question. Do we have a formal arrangement for...
What page?
I'm sorry, page 6. Scariano Hines. Do we have a formal arrangement for deferment of payment?
No.
We don't. Okay. Just pay.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So, Tim, I don't understand when the money comes in, because money came in for age group swimming also. Does all the money that comes into the high school go into one place? Because when we look at the budget and just revenues, there isn't an other column.
Well, there is like in the education fund. There's an other account for local revenue. There's an other account for state revenue. For age group gymnastics, age group swim, there are separate accounts set up for the revenue on those items. So that's why they appear in the revenue. This item here, these tickets for this trip to Evanston. Now that was just a minor type of trip, so that money's not put into a separate account. The age group ones are fairly significant items, that we have, so we've created separate revenue accounts for that.
So where does the money go? If it's
Where
not put into an account, is it saved in a box in our business office?
I don't know what to. Okay, no. If we collect money for these tickets, we deposit it in the bank, and we credit that expenditure account instead of putting it into a separate revenue account. Age group, we have a separate revenue account because the dollars are so significant. But on this type of thing where we're looking at $400, the money goes into the expenditure account. So we're writing a check to Evanston to cover the cost, and then when we're collecting money from the parents, we're taking the money, we're depositing it into that expenditure account to offset the check that we've sent out.
So my question is, how can we ever track, because we have asked many times about ticket sales at the doors, basketball, that the money is actually coming in? If it's
not
just,
just this one event was that way. The other ones are kept, what you're saying, the miscellaneous
Yeah,
local.
Yeah, and the ticket sales for things like, well, football and basketball, those are kept separately for football and basketball. So we track the revenue from football, for the ticket sales, for basketball, for the ticket sales. But those are fairly significant line items.
why wouldn't we track all monies coming into the school district?
This wasn't a collection. We had to pay a bill for parents to buy tickets for the swim meet going to state. So it was a $460 expenditure. We paid one check to buy the tickets. The parents gave us that money, so we credited it to the same account we wrote the check off to offset it. It's not a revenue for the high school. It was an offset of credit and an expenditure. It wasn't like we were collecting those tickets for RB. So instead of the parents taking a chance of not being able to buy the tickets, Art took a ticket count from the parents for the swim team, ordered the 61 tickets, paid the $460, and as we collected the money from the parents, we dumped that back into the account that the money was taken out to write the lump sum check.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, on minutes, any questions on those? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve both the bills and the minutes? Dan?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. A, approves payment of the bills as presented and listed in section Roman numeral 6, capital A. B, approves minutes from the meetings held on February 14th and 28th, 2012, open and closed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dan Moon. Marianne?
Mr. Gretchen?
Yes.
Ms. Hruska?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes.